As of 2023, Sri Lanka's youth population was approximately 5.125 million, which is 23.6% of the total population. Our youth have had to contend with war, political instability, economic bankruptcy, and environmental degradation, forcing them to become activists against corruption, climate change, and demand a better future for themselves. With me today is Ramzi Zaindeen, who has been working with youth in Sri Lanka for years now, and he's here to discuss what ails our youth and what are their aspirations, as well as the challenges they face. Now, you've worked quite extensively with communities, especially youth. What have been your findings?
Youth are always ready to work with the communities, but the thing is, they don't have that opportunity to come forward, and probably the platforms aren't necessarily available for them. It's still dominated by the older generation, where they dictate certain rules and regulations. So I feel that's the gap or the problem that the youth today face.
What are the misconceptions there are about youth of today, actually?
Misconception would be where people think that youth is part of the problem. I think over the 50 years of history, we have seen like the LTTE and the JVP. You see a lot of and the Aragale. You find where youth come in to take action, but at the same time, we feel that they have been accused to doing something not up to the standard. So I feel like that's the biggest misconception, where when youth take action, it's been judged.
So, what are the gaps that you have found in these communities, and how can we actually address these?
Whoever gets the opportunity, like there are youth leaders in this country, but it's been concentrated to few people, like known faces. I was in Peradinia doing a workshop for university students, and that was their first time being in a workshop. That was unbelievable. These are fourth year students. It was sad to see where these young leaders don't get that opportunity. So it's concentrated to the urban-centric sort of platforms.
What are the specific challenges you think are faced by youth today, and what are their aspirations?
There are degree programs, there are study programs, but when it comes to the industry requirement, there's a huge gap in what they can do as an individual. So I feel like that is something that needs to be closed down, really. And also the youth have a lot of aspirations. They want to do well in their lives. So you can see after the Aragali, a lot of young people leave in the country to find that ideal place to live. So I think about 500,000 to 600,000 youth just left. Even during the workshop, I saw the pre-evaluation, and they wanted to go abroad, most of them. So that's kind of sad to see.
As a country, have we failed our youth?
To a certain extent, yes, I guess so. I think we have not kept them involved in our decision making, or even, they don't necessarily have to make decisions. At least consult them, at least ask them what they, want, or their needs are. There's a lot of things that you can get out of the youth, especially when it comes to the economic progress. I mean, everyone is talking about the economic downturn, but what can we do to include them in this process of bringing the country back up to the feet? I mean, that is something that we need to think about.
So, you're a firm proponent of edutainment. What subject areas have you been dealing with?
It's actually a wide range of things, like social cohesion, peace building, gender-based violence, youth engagement, voter consciousness, civic consciousness, values education, a lot of things actually. So it has been a variety of things. Wherever there's a requirement, I would research on that subject and do what I can.
How do you get your message across?
Mostly I use a tool called Forum Theatre, but there are, so I didn't invent this. It was developed by a person called Augusto Boal, and he has this thing called uh, theatre of the oppressed, and with that, theatre style, there are different types of theatre practices that you can adopt. So I use mostly forum theatre and also disruptive theatre, where the audience get an opportunity to look at the play and make changes, and it builds a safe space to sort of have a forum or a discussion on certain issues.
You know, given that Sri Lankan communities are multicultural, multi-diverse, multi-ethnic, sometimes getting the message across can be a little difficult. How do you manage that?
Different people perceive things differently. I think even if you take a play, there are different scenes that people connect to, and sometimes people, depending on their experiences or their perceptions, they connect to different things differently. So we try to encourage that conversation. Even as a trainer, I'm more of a facilitator than a trainer. I try to build that conversation rather than pitching in my idea. So I first ask, what do you think about it, and then build a conversation with that. And if most often than not, people ask me questions or they seek advice from me, then I throw back the question back to the audience, so that it is a sort of collective consciousness rather than me advising things.
What do you see in them? What are the wounds they carry? And how can we as a country actually help them?
I think the wounds that they carry would be the boons of the previous generation. Although we feel like they have enough and more space to, communicate, especially with social media, still people can easily be manipulated with the overload or too much of information that it carries. So I feel like it will be important to have physical spaces for people to interact.
So, looking forward to seeing more of your work somewhere, sometime.
Thank you so much, Sarah.
Remember, Kaleidoscope is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, and like us for more.